pawn versus rook ending is no easy task. It's all too easy to get pushed to the edge of the board and find yourself in a hopeless situation, just like this position. It's black's turn to move, but unfortunately for black, there is no way to save the position. Black's king does block the promotion square of the pawn, but black's rook is way too passive. If black tries to activate the rook with rook g1, hoping to start checking the king, white can simply play rook h8 with checkmate to follow. White is threatening to play rook a7 with checkmate on the next turn. If black plays king f8, the simplest way for white to win is by playing rook f7 check, forcing black's king to e8. White now threatens checkmate with rook a7, when black's position will collapse. Are all rook versus rook and pawn endings hopeless for the defender? Not at all. In fact, if you know the Philidor position, there are good chances to save this endgame. Let's take a look. Even though white is up a pawn, has a strong rook on the 7th rank, and an active king, the position is completely drawn, if black understands the Philidor position. When defending this position, you want your king to be in front of the passed pawn, blocking its path to promotion. In the first example, black's rook sat passively on the back rank. This was the key to black's defeat. The Philidor position is also known as the 3rd rank defense. The key to defending the Philidor position is by moving the rook to your 3rd rank. In this case, by playing rook g6. The black rook is activated and prevents white's king from advancing. The idea is to force white to push the pawn forward so white's king cannot move in front of the pawn. If white refuses to move the pawn and waits by playing a move such as rook a7, all you need to remember is to keep the rook on your 3rd rank until your opponent pushes the pawn forward. So black plays a waiting move, rook h6. Checking the king does not help white, so after king e4, rook g6, and king f5, white's king desperately wants the rook to leave the 6th rank so white can advance the king. Remember to keep the Philidor position simple by staying on the rank with rook b6. Checking the black king does not help as it will always stay in front of the pawn on e7 or e8. White finally decides to advance the pawn with e6. This is what black has been waiting to see. Now that the pawn is on e6, white is threatening to play king f6 and threaten checkmate. Only when the pawn advances to the same rank as the rook, and only then, black now moves the rook to white's 1st rank with rook b1. Now that the king cannot hide in front of its pawn, black's rook is prepared to attack the king with multiple checks. After king f6, rook f1 check, king e5, rook e1 check. Black's rook continues to shadow the white king with checks. After king d5, rook d1 check. If the king moves away from the pawn, such as with king c6, black's rook can continue to check the king, but the simplest move is to attack the pawn with rook e1. If white protects the pawn with the king, black's rook will keep checking the king. White cannot make any progress and the game is drawn. Since moving the king did not work, what if white tries to block the rook's checks by playing rook a4? After rook f1 check and rook f4, black can simply trade rooks with rook takes f4, king takes f4, and king e7, entering a completely drawn king and pawn ending. Let's take a look at one more example together. In this position, black has the option to check white's king with rook b1. Is this a good idea? After rook b1 check, king c6, white is threatening rook h8 checkmate, and black's king will have to give up its important defensive location, being on the same file as the passed pawn. Since checking the king led to serious problems for black, can you remember the key defensive idea in the Philidor position? That's right, the 3rd rank defense with rook g6. The rook is now guarding black's 3rd rank and will move back and forth on that rank until sooner or later white advances the pawn with c6. Once the pawn advances to the same rank as the rook, The rook should now move to the attacker's first rank with rook g1, preparing to deliver checks against the white king. Since white's king cannot hide in front of the passed pawn, the game is once again drawn. Now that you've learned how to save the game in a Philidor position, it's time to test your skills.